Bonjour, bonsoir, good morning, good evening. So happy to see you here in Jupiter Control Room after this wonderful success of Ariane 5. So Jean-François Clairvoy, just a small word. I mean, you're happy, but the work is not over.
Yes, but before we do a rendezvous, it's important to have our resupply vehicle in orbit, in a stable orbit, starting the phasing for the rendezvous to ISS.
So the separation went okay. I mean, now the ATV is on its own, we should say.
Yeah, ATV has started navigation with star trackers, has started testing its own propulsion system. In the next few minutes, we wait for deployment of the solar arrays, which are a crucial step for further life on orbit of this vehicle.
So here on the picture, we see John Elwood and his team, and they are waiting for the situation with the ATV-CC, which is the ATV Control Center, which is in Toulouse.
Yes, the European Space Agency has delegated to the French Space Agency the control of the vehicle from its technical center in Toulouse, and this is where we have international team, Russians, Americans, ESA, and French specialists to monitor the deployment of those solar arrays at the time we are speaking.
So why is it so important, this event, these solar arrays?
The solar arrays are important because until now ATV was working on its own batteries, and as you know, batteries have to be recharged regularly, and we have some autonomy, but it's important to start recharging them before ATV goes into the shadow phase of the orbit.
So one should say that this is the life of the ATV that will really start.
Yes, electricity is available all the time from the sun, and all satellites have solar arrays to recharge the batteries that are used when the satellite is on the other side of the Earth relative to the sun.
And I guess for such a huge vehicle, which is ATV, you need a lot of energy.
It provides 4 kilowatts. It's not too much compared to other satellites, but they are quite big solar arrays. The span is 22 meters, and once it has deployed the solar array, it will deploy the antenna that allows the ATV to talk to the station via radio. And then we will start the phasing. That is, ATV being on a lower orbit than the space station will go faster around the Earth and will catch up with the vertical line of the space station.
So that means that now it is. I think it's interesting that you explain how it will be done. I mean, this is automatic. This is a command.
ATV, as opposed to all satellites that are commanded from the ground sends regularly commands to ask the satellite to turn or not. ATV is autonomous. It navigates by itself. It has its own sensors, star trackers, and then optical sensors to navigate toward the station. And it requires only monitoring from the ground and regular updates just to make sure that the latest available data of navigation, positioning, etc. is good. But with GPS, like us on Earth.
And soon Galileo, maybe?
Maybe, yes, Galileo. And star trackers and rendezvous laser sensors. ATV will find its way by itself, but it will stop at regular points where it will wait for the go from the specialist on the ground that will verify all the systems are okay to proceed to the next step.
So right away, what is going on exactly between Toulouse and the ATV?
So Toulouse is communicating with ATV via relay satellites, nominally the American Tracking Data Relay Satellite System, but we have also a European relay satellite called Artemis that is compatible with the radio system. So we have two completely different paths of radio communication with ATV, and it's very unlikely that we lose any track of its status.
This is a golden rule, in fact, in space, to have a redundant chain to get the information or to send commands.
Not necessarily a necessity, but it's an additional guarantee that we will succeed the mission.
Okay, we must also explain that, well, this is, we are waiting for this deployment in the next minute, but of course, it's the first attempt. We have several occasions to do so during the orbits. Jean-François.
Yes, we track continuously the health of all the equipment on board. We have, like on all satellites, electrical system, communication system, thermal control system, navigation systems. And we have redundancy. We have more redundancy on this ship than on any other commercial satellite to make sure that even if one equipment fails or a second one, we can still proceed to the docking and at least be safe for the station and for the crew.
So now this important event is this deployment, and then what will be the following event once we have the energy?
The following event is called phasing. We want ATV to catch up the space station. It will do it coming from below and behind. As it got closer to the space station, it will climb in altitude and stop the first time at the same altitude of the space station, 3.5 kilometers behind, waiting for a go from Toulouse. Then it will make a small half orbit as a loop to get to 250 meters, only 250 meters behind the space station, waiting for a go from Toulouse to proceed. And then it will follow a straight line towards the space station and stop at 20 meters and 11 meters. And we will not do all this rendezvous the first time. The first time we stop at 3,500 meters, the first point on the altitude of the space station. 2 days later, the 31st of March, we will come close to 11 meters to the station, and only on the 3rd of April, if the previous approaches were okay, we will go to the very contact and capture to the space station.
Why don't you go right away? I mean,
it's like an aircraft flying for the first time. It never lands the first time on the runway. It lands on a virtual runway that is a few thousand feet above the real runway in all configurations, gears out and flaps, etc., like for landing. For ATV, it's the same. We want to demonstrate to our partners and to the station crew that we have a good system, rendezvous works fine, and we do it by step. This is a kind of test flight like we do for all aircraft before they can take passengers on board.
And in fact, you explained that pretty well with Michel Chevalier with the model. I mean, there are different means to make sure that there is no problem in this event, in this rendezvous.
ATV has been designed to be safe by itself to the level required for human spaceflight without the need of the crew. But on this first flight, we will ask the crew to be an additional third layer of safety to monitor the approach. And for that, they will use a very basic system, a video image of the ATV coming in. The most important is to be well aligned and coming at the proper speed. If either of the two is not verified, the crew has the capability to tell the ATV, don't come closer, we'll try another time.
And then the ATV will go in some kind of safe mode, in a safe area, and be able to come back?
It will go to a slightly different orbit and wait for a reattempt the next day, for example.
And well, I had the question earlier. I mean, how long could it stay around the station?
The ATV can navigate by itself as long as it has propellant. All the propellant it has in its tanks are mostly for reboosting the station to rise the altitude of the space station. Anytime the ATV navigates by itself and weight, it's about 50 kilograms of